I'll work you out, get you right with your physical. Always just another interlude. Asking all the questions, girl, you know I don't do interviews. It's pitiful that when I'm with them other bitches, I pretend it's you. Oh, you work at Kohl's, you in dental school.
All right, so this topic. All right, we want to bring this to the floor. Miguel of Frank Ocean, and when we talk about this, when we're talking about this battle, not even a battle, this comparison, contrast, everything of what we're trying to do with these two great artists.
Yeah.
Mind you, I have to throw in there great, so nobody be like, you think? Nah, they both make good music.
Both great.
Honestly, honest opinion, no biases. Who has the better catalog? Who is probably has the better vocals? And yeah, I have to say that better catalog and better vocals. Not, I don't want to say in the sense to say be better artists because people get carried away with that.
I mean, that's gonna be the ultimate question anyway.
But it's kind of like it's really hard. Like if you take Miguel out of the music scene right now, like if you honestly, if you take both of them out the music scene, do you think there still be life in that and for that area of R&B where The Weeknd, Miguel, and Frank Ocean fall into that category of R&B? If you take both of them out,
I mean, if you take both of them out, I think you lose probably I think you lose the OGs of that area of R&B. I don't think it's dead just because I think R&B is consistently growing and getting better, which is great. So I don't think any area of R&B is truly lacking if you're tapped into all the music that's out there. But I think they're both masters of that sound and that arena of R&B. I'm not sure what you would call it. I don't know if there's a name for it, but that kind of. I also don't know if I would put Frank and Miguel in the same genre of R&B as The Weeknd. I don't know, because The Weeknd is more. Well, The Weeknd is also
honestly both of their music
completely different artists before, so that's the different conversation.
Both of their music kind of covers the same in a sense. Some of their music kind of covers the same subject matter as far as drugs, sex. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like Frank more than Miguel. I mean, Miguel talk about it, but Frank is more parallel to The Weeknd than Miguel is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if we doing it loosely, because I mean, I feel like it's artists that's coming up that's kind of falling into that category as well. So it's and R&B itself as a subgenre of music is still very fluid in sounds and all of that. So it's kind of hard to say, but yeah, I think it'll still be alive to answer the original question. But I think it's tough because I don't think people kind of realize how parallel the two's careers have been in a sense. They're actually way more parallel than people, want to give credit for from a standpoint of when they both came out, when they both kind of, I would say, reached a status.
Hit that peak of like this is their mainstream music.
Yeah, because you got to think, because Channel Orange and Classical Dream both dropped in 2012. Think about that. So, and those are both. I don't even know. I'm not picking but
that's my thing. Like when I was making the argument, like to me, honestly, I feel like Kaleidoscope Dream is still one of Miguel's most complete R&B. Like Warren, I love Warren.
It is his most complete, for sure.
I love Warren Leisure, but as far as like the up and come that gave Miguel that like, all right, like this is the stamp of like my, because honestly, Miguel, if you go back and watch his interviews, Miguel really like he put All I Want Is You out. He put the tape out, but it's still like they was trying to box him into a sound and what they wanted him to do. And as far as like,
that sound was not horrible. That sound was not bad.
That's what the thing, like for a debut project, bro. For a debut project, All I Want Is You. I think that was a perfect entry to say, look, I'm here.
Debut project for 2010, honestly.
Solid. All right, so what would you? Okay, let's do this. Let's start off with the discographies.
Okay.
Nostalgia Ultra or All I Want Is You.
That's so fair, man.
This is a real
It's real.
conversation.
No, it's real. It's nostalgia ultra though, but I say that not to knock All I Want Is You at all. But nostalgia ultra is, I don't know, man. Like nostalgia
Them
ultra.
songs, bro, like they was really ahead of his time, bro.
I was gonna say that. I was a little bit hesitant, but I agree. Nostalgia ultra.
Bruh, them songs were ahead of their time. Like the content of the things that he was talking about. Um, and then you got to think at that time, nobody even knew really the person Frank Ocean was, bro. Like,
Oh, like I'm pretty sure they knew he was a part of our future, but like even then, he was definitely behind Tyler and Earl at that point. So if he was
his
even
personal
even
his
if he was
personal lifestyle that he was living.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but no, I would say nostalgia ultra for a couple different reasons. One, I think to say it sounded better is hard because All I Want Is You didn't sound bad. But I think,
It sounded good.
but I think the sound of nostalgia ultra was more.
What do you want to say? Like the melodies was kind of better or something?
I'm hesitant to say polished because even in saying it, it's not by much. But nostalgia ultra just sounds a little bit more put together.
No, the production of nostalgia ultra, it came complete.
All I want is you is very raw. It's very it's fine. It works, but it's really raw compared to
exactly. And that's kind of what set apart All I Want Is You from Kaleidoscope Dream, because with Kaleidoscope Dream, you got that polished sound. Like you got the full package of like, I like, bro, he opened up the tape with Adorn, bro.
People look at Adorn, fuck that. People look at Adorn, they forget. He follows Adorn up with hit after hit after hit. I'm talking about, I genuinely don't think there's a skip in that album, maybe until like the back half, if that.
A skip? Let me see.
I'm looking right now.
I say the only.
It's not a skip. There's no skip.
Nah, it's solid. 12 in, 12 out. That's solid.
It's solid. I ain't saying all the tracks are 10s per se, but they're not skips.
All right, so look. So now that we're talking about Kaleidoscope Dream, we got to bring up the comment that Miguel made when the controversy happened. Frank Ocean, Channel Orange, I'll be Kaleidoscope Dream at the Grammys. Which, in your opinion, now that we like this both tapes have been able to age and sit, Kaleidoscope Dream or Channel Orange? After you you just sit and said 12 tracks in, Kaleidoscope Dream doesn't have no skip. If we go to Channel Orange,
because listen,
like look, bro, you go to Channel Orange. Channel Orange, you got 17 tracks. Are you sitting there telling me that you can listen to all 17 tracks with no skip without honestly being truthful to yourself that you're looking for a vibe? The same, like with Kaleidoscope Dream, you got literally each song, you got the vibe that you was looking for. Kaleidoscope with Channel Orange, it's not bad, Frank. You know what I'm saying? You're going to like it. Next track, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'm loving this. Then the next track, are you sitting there saying, I'm loving this all the way through?
For me?
But the album was not bad. The album, it was very polished though. It was very polished.
I don't think Channel Orange, it depends on the day whether it's a no skip for me. It's close, but I wouldn't undeniably say it's a no skip. But here's why. He has a couple skits that take up track. So as far as songs, he really got about 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to compare song for song, but they're very equal in terms of singles and then album cuts. They're very equal because Miguel had Adorn, Frank had Thinking About You. Thinking About You was the bigger song, but for the sake of the argument, let's just say they cancel out. For the sake of the argument, let's just say
Okay.
they cancel out.
All right.
All right.
Because I'm about to say every kid in my high school was walking
Oh.
around singing.
A potato. Look, listen.
I
Potato
ain't hear nobody talking about some let my love adorn. Nah, I ain't hear
It
that.
was a hit, but it wasn't getting sung like that. So Frank had the bigger single. I also think Frank probably had the bigger anticipation for this album, but that has nothing to do with the project that came out. If you going through this, I mean, Fertilizer, it's like a little skit. You can do without it, honestly, but it's not a song, so it's hard.
Okay.
So if you're gonna cut out skits, because I put it like this: if you cut out skits and you end up looking at it from a standpoint of you looking at 13 actual songs versus 12 or something like that and go song for song, I think you're gonna have a lot of it could go either ways and they'll be equal in terms of what they would undeniably win. So because choosing to me is off preference, because I feel like you can't definitively say one album is better, like by any degree, definitively over the other. I think it'll be about preference.
Because if you being, let's be honest. After the first 6 tracks of Channel Orange, Frank just started ripping through it. Super Rich Kid, Pilot Jones, Crack Rock, Pyramid, Lost, White,
Yes,
Monks, Bad Religion.
But look, Sierra Leone and Sweet Life them two of my favorites.
I love Sierra Leone. I'm talking about like bangers after bangers after bangers back to back.
Look, seven to the end. Listen, but
then this man had a 3 stacks feature. Come on now, a 3 stacks feature, bro.
One of the best beat switches I've ever heard. It's probably not Frank's best beat switch. It's not actually, but
what you would think Frank's best beat switch?
Nice.
Okay.
Easily. But yeah, so can we tie that? Can we
We're gonna have to tie that debut as far as debut projects. And no, well, let's say
I give Frank Nostalgia Ultra. I give Frank that one, and then this one is a tie.
Okay, so all right. So next we're gonna move in. First, we gotta think about the time gap. Let's do that.
Yeah.
We gotta put into consideration the time gap.
15 and 16.
After Frank dropped Channel Orange, which was 2012, he didn't come back to when did Blonde drop? 2016, 2017? 2016. That's a 4-year gap. Between them 4 years, Miguel gave us, which I'm gonna be honest, in my opinion, and this is where a lot of people hate me. I had an argument about this. Wild Heart wasn't the stick for me. Like Wild Heart wasn't.
I think Wild Heart is his. I guess his worst album. If we're gonna talk about his,
I wouldn't even say worst. To me, it's just my least favorable album that he released. I ain't gonna say worst because
I'm saying worse in the context of his albums. Like out of all his albums, that's the worst.
All right,
I'm not saying it's horrible.
And I was talking about that. From this tape, it was a 13-track tape.
Yeah.
Out of this 13 tracks, I've only liked 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah. I really like the singles.
Like I like Coffee. I like Deal. I like What's Normal Anyway. And that's probably about it. Like I tried to have it. You said what? I didn't.
What?
I didn't.
Bro, you telling me you're not trying to get busy that song, bro? You telling me you're not trying to get buzzed to the song? That's what you're telling me?
It's like preference, bro. And it sticks to me. Like I literally tried to let the album grow on me time and time again, but it was just like it's the same songs every time. The same songs hit. It ain't it. So from that, as far as that's his third tape.
That's his third album, yeah.
For Frank's third tape,
yeah.
The man, first off, he didn't even drop that yet. He struck a deal with Apple Music and released a visual album of him not doing anything but some carpentry work. With the album playing in the background, and Endless was a bop. The album Endless was a bop, bro. I'm not gonna like it. Literally had everybody flocking to go get their Apple Music subscriptions again, just so they can hear new music from Frank Ocean. And did this album did not do number. You ain't like Endless?
Hey man.
Oh, bro, you're tweaking.
Hey man.
You're tweaking.
Endless cool.
You're tweaking.
Endless cool.
Cool.
It's cool. I don't think it's bad, you know.
Bruh, I'm gonna need you after this call. I'm gonna need you to go and do what you gotta do. You know, get groovy. And I'm gonna need you to turn this album on because Endless was like that, bro. Endless was fire, bro.
Like that? On what level?
What do you
Was Endless better than Channel Orange?
I wouldn't no, it wasn't. Look,
It's better than Nostalgia.
but that's not what we're doing here. Endless was
Endless
better than Wild Heart. Endless was better than Wild. Endless was better than Wild Heart.
But we both really don't like Wild Heart, so anything will virtually beat out Wild Heart.
But I like Endless, and that's not me. That's not me being blind. There niggas go. There you go. There they go.
I just want to know. I just want to know because Endless seems to be better.
It's not completely Endless is not better than Blind, but don't sleep on Endless like it don't have bops.
So Incompletely is better than Blind. You see?
I didn't say neither. All I'm saying is
I get what you said.
Endless got bops, bro, and I'm gonna need you to go back and replay it because that joint smack.
For you, I will revisit it and see if my stance changes.
Hey. So now we're gonna catch up and we're gonna get to Blind.
Okay.
17 tracks.
A lot of tracks.
We have Blind. Cause all right, so Endless, we'll say Endless was Frank's third album. And we'll give Miguel's third album, Wild Heart. So now we gotta do the comparison, which you said your favorite Miguel's album, Warren Leisure. Warren Leisure.
What?
You said what?
Kaleidoscope Dream is my favorite Miguel album. I do like Warren Leisure though.
But you believe Warren Leisure is his most complete?
Nah.
Okay. All right. Because that was my argument when we got on. Mine was that Kaleidoscope is probably most complete album.
Oh yeah.
All right.
The sonically, I don't think you get much better than that, honestly. Not. So what we doing Blind against Warren Leisure right now?
Blind against Warren Leisure. Let's. And I'm gonna say this. Because you know our boy he popped up on a feature. You know what I'm saying with Miguel called "Come Through and Trill."
Yeah, it's good single. They don't miss. I would love a collab tape from them too, actually.
Oh, Miguel and Cole?
Yes.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen, but that shit will be flames.
We might get it.
But that tape will be flames, bro.
We might get it on the fall off. But listen, all right, so first, yeah, Warren Leisure was fire, bro.
It was.
When Skywalker dropped.
I let it ride this morning. It's fire. Skywalker is like that.
Bro, when that dropped in 2017, bro, you know how life was like in 2017, bro.
Here's the thing, bro. Miguel can work with a lot of artists. And I think people like Miguel can work with a lot of people and make it work.
His range is amazing.
You would have thought him and Travis could hop on the song and do that.
I did.
Like, I'm hearing it and I'm like, Miguel?
But I remember the first time I heard it, we was in my line brother car. Shout out to all the good people. And we was in a well and hold on. All right.
I feel the pain, brother. It's all good.
All right. So,
But yeah, no, it's cool.
Put on that I love, Spliffy. And bruh, Skywalker, I was amazed. I was very impressed to see where like how far Miguel has came, and then the mesh it with Travis Scott, bro. Yeah, bro.
It's a Travis sound, which is the thing. It's a Travis
Mm-hmm.
sound, more than Miguel at least. But for Miguel to do what he did, it showed more range. And so when people have made the argument that like Miguel has more range, it's like it's only tough because I think people don't give Frank enough credit as a rapper. Not saying he's this.
That's the thing. You got a lot of people that's boxing in the fact that they didn't come up Tyler the Creator fans, and they're probably still not Tyler the Creator fans,
Right.
or even Future, or even what he's done with Beyonce, and like, bro, this man, don't sleep on Frank, bro. Like his range is very.
The range is there.
Exactly.
The range, and that's what I'm saying. Like for people, like when people make the argument or when people make a statement, like we were saying in the last episode, it's like if y'all gonna make a statement, have some musical things to back it up. Because if it's preference, say it's preference. But if you're gonna make a statement and try to say that something is definitively better, whether it be artist, album, or whatever, give something musically that we can attest to. Like putting facts aside.
Yes, like your facts. And then, bro, let's not discredit. That man produced too. He's a producer.
He is a producer. Now I don't know if Miguel produces. I know he plays instruments.
Exactly. I mean, I feel like if you play your instruments, you definitely you tap into the production side as well.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to from Warren Leisure and Blind, but I can't do it because it's like they dropped at 2 different times, like 2 different years.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say 2 different times, but they also both have their kind of niche. So it's always like Channel Orange and Classical Dream might be one of the closest comparisons they have. Because other than that, their lanes differed, once they left that, which is fine. I think Warren Leisure is a little bit more complete. I think Blonde had room to be shortened and to be a little bit more cohesive. I truly believe in cohesion from an album standpoint. But Frank has some cuts from that album that are timeless. I'm talking about.
You got Pink and White, Nikes, Ivy. Or you got Nights. You got Solo Reply.
I'm talking about the ballads. I'm talking about Self-Control. I'm talking
Self crazy,
bro.
Come on,
I'm saying in a bag. So it's hard. It is real hard to compare. It is real hard to compare. Wait, my bad. Say that again.
I said he was hitting us with so many transitions throughout the tape. He was just like, bruh.
Yeah. So and the transitions were there, but I feel like if he had cut a few things out here and there and transitioned to certain things, and maybe not 17, but maybe like 14, maybe.
I feel like 13, 14 would have been a solid for Blind. Cause like even after the album finished, like you was just like, all right, I want more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it was the fact that you wanted more because the songs that he did put that was like a lot of them were shortened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
like be yourself, like he was really on that joint giving us 1 minute tracks, and we just had to be satisfied with it after not hearing from him for 4 years.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Like, yeah, bro. Yeah.
No, that's
I have to agree with you. 14 solid. Frank just giving us his sound.
Yeah. It's hard to choose because Warren Leisure was like that. I think people. I don't know if people slept on it per se, but it was like that from the standpoint of, Miguel did what he had to do. Had some very, very solid features on there, and also did his thing on tracks on his own. But the thing is, it's funny because neither of these albums are Actually, question for you. With this being this is respectively the last album we've got from both of them. Is either of these works their second best work? Because I think we both can agree on what their best works are.
Is this their second best work?
Because are we in agreement that Channel Orange and Kaleidoscope Dream are probably their best works? Or do you think Blonde is better than Channel Orange?
So it like, I like Channel Orange more than Blind, but I like the sound of Blind, like sonically, I love what Blind brings. And truthfully, I'm a big fan of Nostalgia Ultra. So it's ranking those. It always be kind of hard for me. It's depending on what type of day I'm feeling. Like I might feel like this and say Channel Orange is the number one album. Then a week later or a month later, I'm gonna say Nostalgia Ultra, or I come back and be like, nah, Blonde. Like, but so as far as ranking Frank's project, it's a toss up, bro. But I'm gonna say those what he's given so far is not like, unless like we was to say and talk about Endless wouldn't be in the top 3. You know what I'm saying? Like I can easily rotate Blind, Nostalgia, Ultra, but if you're talking about the standpoint for albums, like if we talking about albums, I would have to say Channel Orange is more complete than Blind. But Blind brings a sound of Frank Ocean that's just like, bro, he can explore with so many different things and still make it sound great.
So do you think he was more? I think he was more versatile on Channel Orange than he was Blonde. Not to necessarily say, well, because he rapped more on Channel Orange.
Yeah.
So I say versatile in the sense of he gave a little bit
showing his skill set, showing like.
I agree though. I like Blonde. I love the sound of Blonde. I think if Frank was to have a pocket, that's it. But I think it's always nice for him to show that he can do more. I think Blonde wasn't an album for him to really showcase like the rapping skill, which is fine. But I think because of that and because of the time now in between when we've last really heard Frank do that, I think people forget that Frank has the ability to hold his own when it comes to rapping.
For sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's hard. I say, but from for Miguel, Warren Leisure is definitely, that's his.
No, he has tracks on there, and it's like you kind of. I think sometimes you forget, like if you're not a Miguel stan, or if you don't follow Miguel, I think sometimes you forget how talented he is. Like when you listen, you kind of like, oh, I forgot that Miguel can do this. Like he does this.
Exactly, bro. That's why, like when I was sitting talking to you this morning before we record, I'm going through because I'm just like, I'm sitting back listening. I'm like, bro, it just brought back memories. Like Miguel really was in his bag. Like a couple of these projects, he was really in his bag, bro. Like, I mean, if he, I want to say bottled that sound up because like these are two artists that we're talking about that their range, they can bring so much to a song and it not sound the same as another song that they've done.
Yeah.
So just going through each of the catalogs, which would you have to say is, after we done structured them, broke them down, not really broke them down, but like to just talk about the catalogs and the years of their releases, what they stood for, all that stuff like that, which would you have to say is the artist with the better catalog?
Strictly going off the better catalog, I'm thinking, I think it's Frank because I think it's Frank. I know it's Frank because Frank has more complete projects as far as a better catalog.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and it's not that Miguel doesn't. I just think if you don't kind of go album for album or just look at the discography, I think that I think Frank, if you look at Nostalgia Ultra and Channel Orange and Blind, even in the flaws that may exist within those albums, I just think those are 3 albums that you can say definitively, like, I don't think either of those albums is less than an 8 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, and Miguel, and we may be the only ones that feel that way about Wild Heart, but with Wild Heart being, not so great to us. And then, he has Kaleidoscope Dream and he has All I Want Is You, which is decent, but, isn't on the same level. And then he has Warren Lee, which is really good. But I don't think it has spots where it misses necessarily. But I think Miguel is one of those artists who within an album has more songs that might stand out usually. Like we agreed, Frank has more singles. His singles never flop. They always stick. I would argue potentially we would have to maybe do some more research on Frank's features. Because Frank is not much of a feature artist, for real. But Miguel has some very notable features. I think that's something to consider. We know they both probably could, but I think that's just something to consider too. But that's just catalog wise. As far as better artists, it's really tough for me to say because it's really tough to artistry. Artistry is something that's really hard to compare. You know what I'm saying? So it's really hard to who's the better artist or who makes better art because that's all subjective.
Respectively, I'm gonna have to say catalog. I'm gonna go with Frank, but respectively for both artists, I feel like it's a tie. I'm gonna be honest.
I wouldn't want to choose between artists. Yeah,
it was the discussion was definitely fruitful, and for those who probably that's watching this have never even dove into both of their catalogs, like the reason why it's so hard because they're just that good in their lanes, or they're that great at making music in their lane and in their avenue. So artistry wise, I'm gonna have to say it's a tie of who's the better artist. Neither one. I can't just go out there and just be like, man, Frank watching Miguel and Miguel's watching Frank or anything. But catalog, you talk about complete bodies, Frank has it. Frank has the complete bodies. And so yeah.
Yeah. That's real. Well, no, man, this was a great episode. We also gonna have a treat for y'all too after this episode. We was gonna do it on this episode, but it just won't be the same because we won't be able to play the songs. But what we're gonna do is we each gonna construct a 20-song playlist, if you will, for one of the artists. Jesse took Frank, I got Miguel. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set that up and we're gonna let y'all scorecard it and see what y'all would do if they was to do, something along the lines of like a versus battle or whatever. So he's gonna provide the playlist, y'all score it. Then on top of that, we're gonna give y'all the actual playlist with the songs, also as well. We trying to just get to the people because that's what the interlude is about. So, that's what we got for y'all. We got another R&B conversation coming up for y'all too. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, it's the interlude, and we just getting started, big dog. So
Sure.
Peace.